All humans have tendencies to be protective and we get defensive. This is a practice that can help you as a therapist to work on your own response to this, as well as then help your clients and help you working with them when they are feeling defensive or protective. So the first thing that I'm going to do is ask you to think of a situation in your life that's not super intense, but that somehow brings up some defensiveness for you. And I'm going to ask you to notice when you think of that situation, what happens for you? What happens in your thoughts? What happens emotionally? And what happens in your body? Do your thoughts start to get to problem solving, or do you start to have a more rapid thinking process, or do you kind of blank out? What happens there? Do you start to feel a little down on yourself? Do you start to feel a little angry or agitated? Do you feel a little frustrated? Do you feel a little lonely or a little ashamed? What kind of comes up there? In your body, do you have a sense of feeling more rigid or protective in your body? Or do you have a sense of sort of phasing out, zoning out a little bit? Do you have a sense that you're, kind of wanting to turn and avoid something? Just notice for you what comes up in your thoughts, your feelings, and your body. What kind of responses and impulses do you have? Pause the video if you need to take a little more time with this. So then what I'd like you to do is imagine yourself in the role of client. You're the client, you're sitting with a therapist. And what I want you to imagine is that this therapist, in response to you feeling protective, in response to you feeling defensive, instead of doing a really great job of responding to that, instead does kind of the worst response possible. Imagine what that response might look like, what it might feel like, what it might be like. It might be something you've experienced on either side of the therapy-client relationship. It might be something you've noticed in other people. It might be something that happened in a non-therapy context. Notice what happens to you, to your own experience, when you receive this problematic response from a therapist. Now I want you to just shake that off. Like literally shake it off, brush it off, reset yourself. Let me take a deep breath, whoosh that out. And now instead what I want you to do, you're still in the client role, you're sitting with a therapist, but this time you are going to imagine getting the best possible therapist response to your own defensiveness, your own protection strategies. Notice instead what it's like when you have this compassionate, empathetic, kind, and useful response to your own protection. And just sit with that for a moment. Savor it. Notice what feels good about it. Notice what it does for you. Take as much time as you like with this. Pause the video if you'd like. And then what I'm going to ask you to do is to imagine yourself in the role of that therapist, the therapist who can really meet someone who's feeling protective or defensive with really useful qualities. Imagine that you are that therapist. And following right from that, what I'd like you to do is connect to the ways in which you are that therapist. How are you already a therapist who can be curious about what is happening with your client's sense of protection and defensiveness? Be curious about how you have already qualities that help you meet that help you tolerate the discomfort, that help you navigate the awkwardness or the barriers. Notice how in you already have qualities that allow you to show up for your clients and meet them where they need you to meet them. Again, take some time with this. Really notice in your body what that feels like. Notice how it changes your thinking. Notice the emotional qualities. Take as much time with this as you like. And here's the final step in this practice. What I want to invite you to do is to pull up an image of one of your clients, one of your actual clients that you might want to work with a little bit differently around their protectiveness or their defensiveness. So picture them in front of you, whether it's in your office or on a video screen, and really get a sense of maybe how you've been working with them, what feels good, what feels frustrating, and get curious about how you might, having done the practices that we've been looking at so far, how you might approach this client a little differently. What's a little new wisdom that your own self has been able to offer you through these practices? If you can, notice some of the things that you feel really good about in terms of how you've already approached this client or how you've worked with this client. And then get curious. Are there some new ideas you have? Are there some curiosities that you have? Are there things that you might want to try differently? Or maybe do you want to just kind of pull back and slow down and maybe make some more space as you work with this client? So again, take as much time with this as you like. You might want to follow up with this practice with some journaling or some movement or some art, whatever feels right to you to explore your own experience with this in more depth and in a way that you can take into your clinical work and in a way that you can keep using for your own professional growth. As always, I'd love to hear your experience with this practice. I'd love to hear how it impacts your work and your experience of yourself. Share in the comments, join the chat, or just reach out to me. Thank you for joining in this practice.